If you came to party, make some noise.
Peace to the family. This is Abdul Ali, candidate for U.S. House District 12 here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Let's just be real, folks. The Democrats have destroyed our major cities. Their policies have made us less safe, they've given us less economic opportunity, and they've provided less educational opportunities for our children. And that's why I'm running for Congress, because I know what it takes to improve these issues. I've got great working relationships already in D.C. I've spent the last 10 years of my life building my political resume so that one of us, somebody who thinks like we do, could get into D.C. and make a difference. I want you to visit aliforcongress.com to find out more about my campaign. The Democrats have already done enough, and now they're putting illegal aliens in front of people like you and me, folks whose ancestors built this country and made it what it is today. So again, I'm asking you to support me in my run for U.S. House District 12 here in North Carolina.
You better give it up for Fatman school right now. Hands and make some noise! I said, hands and make some noise! Wait up. If you came to party, make some noise.
The midst of us. Now, Father, in the name of Jesus, I ask that you would see your presence here now, God. Father, I ask that you would make a way.
My name is Minister EnQi. I am the naturopathic doctor and the spokesman for the Melanin Verse Diabetes Ministry. Every time you go to the supermarket without the electrician grocery shopping list, it's like putting a loaded gun to your head. Stop playing Russian roulette with your life. Help us make America great again. Learn how to save time. Learn how to save money with the electrician grocery shopping list on Amazon.
Why do couples
now? Go to Amazon now. The life you save may be your own.
In a minute and acknowledge you. Today is about, and everybody's been asking me how my health has been. And, you know, for me, I don't want to keep answering people here and there and all that kind of stuff. I'd rather just make one across the board statement. And that's it. The Rose Jolie, thank you very much. I am Step Riley. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Let's start here. Here's some observations about. Let me just start by telling you my story. Probably about April 5th, I got sick. You don't know when it comes. You can have a negative test. You can have false positives. It's a bunch of different things that I learned. You could take a test and it should have say negative, and you can come back 3 days later and it should is positive. Thank you, Francine's Dream Cream. Faces Makeup. Thank you very much. Faces by Pureness. You know I love you. So all of that makes no difference. I got sick on like the 5th of April. So I'm sitting here at this chair like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I start coughing. And I'm like, what am I coughing for? And I'm just like, and it's going on and on. So I'm like, wait up, hold on, man. I know I ain't got no. I just came from North Carolina where I was in an event and I had a mask on, but then there was a point I was taking pictures. I had to take the mask off. And I was in the club in Charlotte, North Carolina. But who knows where it came from? It's not about where it came from. It's about your body being prepared to fight it. I always said that. Thank you very much, Miss Billy. I appreciate it. So, again, I never said that I couldn't get it. I just said I want my body to be in the best position to fight it. So, here I go. And I'm in this chair because I'm working here doing something, and I'm coughing. I'm like, why the am I coughing? And it just it was like a dry ass cough in my throat. So I went and got some ignorance juice and shit. I went and grabbed some ignorance juice. So I was like, trying to wash it down and shit. But it kept coming. And
living with opioid addiction can be a struggle, trapped in a cycle.
My name is Minister EnQi. I am the naturopathic doctor and the spokesman for the Melanin Verse Diabetes Ministry. Every time you go to the supermarket without the electrician grocery shopping list, it's like putting a loaded gun to your head. Stop playing Russian roulette with your life.
So I go downstairs and, everything is cool that day. But at the end of the day, I start getting slow. So now I'm getting slow. Rough Rider Shabazz, what's up? Miss Premium, how you feeling? I start getting slow. So I wake up the next morning and I got a little fever and shit. So I'm like, oh, shit. Right? But the whole weekend, Charlotte, Raleigh, I'm still drinking my juices. I'm taking my supplements. So I'm not worrying about it. I'm like, I'm good. I get this heavy ass fever, like 101. But the shit is gone. It's gone in, I wouldn't even say a day. It's gone in like 16 hours, right? So I'm saying to myself, I'm good, right? So good, cool, whatever. I'm telling you, I beat it. So I said, I'm telling my man, I got a fever. I was coughing and shit, but I beat it.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
But now I'm starting to get slow. So I hit y'all and I say, listen, because I don't really want people in my business, but at the same time, my whole shit is about transparency. But I only did that because I had shows coming the next week. I thought that I would be able to beat and I still be able to go to the shows. So I didn't want to tell nobody that I had legit. So I said, man, I got something called cellulitis, which is what I get. When you eat a little loosey-goosey and you eat too much sugar and stuff like that, you can get like what feels like a blood clot in your leg. It's very hot, but it's not a blood clot. It's something called cellulitis. It blows your leg up. And when you get it, it's like an infection. When you get an infection, your body goes into a state of pneumonia. So your body slows down and shit. And you go into like what it would feel like to be in pneumonia. And that's how cellulitis is. Partially, I'm thinking in my mind, maybe it's not, maybe it's the cellulitis because my leg was warm. So I'm not 100% sure, but I think but I'm not sure, but I think it could also be cellulitis because I had the thing in my leg. So I get on Instagram and I say, listen, man, I'm okay. I said, I'm going to say cellulitis so that if I beat this shit and it's not, I can still go out and do my shit the next weekend. I had a show in DC and I had a show in Austin, Texas. First shows that I really have coming back. All right, cool. So I say cellulitis. Somebody says on that post, because DMX had just, and Black Rob, they had a picture. I don't know if you had watched it, but they had a picture of Black Rob, and he was like in a hospital gown. He's like, and somebody left on my post, in threes, and I had to say that I replied. No, somebody left in the previous post, and I replied in that post. I was like, "Yo, miss me with that energy, bro. I ain't dying. I ain't going nowhere."
Peace to the family. This is Abdul Ali, candidate for U.S. House District 12 here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Let's just be real, folks. The Democrats have destroyed our major cities. Their policies have made us less safe. They've given us less economic opportunity, and they've provided less educational opportunities for our children. And that's why I'm running for Congress, because I know what it takes to improve these issues. I've got great working relationships already in D.C. I've spent the last 10 years of my life building my political resume so that one of us, somebody who thinks like we do, could get into D.C. and make a difference. I want you to visit AliForCongress.com to find out more about my campaign. The Democrats have already done enough, and now they're putting illegal aliens in front of people like you and me, folks whose ancestors built this country and made it what it is today. So again, I'm asking you to support me in my run for U.S. House District 12 here in North Carolina. You don't have to live in North Carolina to support, because what happens in Congress affects the entire country. So again, it's AliForCongress.com. I hope to have your support. Peace and love, y'all.
All right, so briefly, there's no official information on Fatman Scoop. There's no official cause of death listed. I know that a lot of people are posting. A lot of people are posting that video with Fatman Scoop discussing his health status in conjunction with Fatman Scoop collapsing on the stage in Connecticut. The thing is, Fatman Scoop made that video August, June, July, May, March. He made that video about 5 or 6 months ago. That video was from April. That's not a recent video. That's not a recent video. So could there be a connection between what he's talking about in the video and him collapsing? Absolutely. Absolutely. But is there a connection? We don't know that. We can't assume that. I can't assume that, definitely from my purview. I'm too far away from the situation to know anything more than what the public knows. So I get it. I respect it. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? A situation like this happens. People hit me up. Doc, what's the story? You know, I mean, the story is, it's another one of this story's the story. You know, we're not doing enough. You know, I mean, it's early in the morning and I could run down the whole cliche, you know, we need to do more. We need to do better. We need to work harder. We need to work smarter. We need to prioritize. We need to get the books. We need to do this. mean, these are tough situations because, you know, a lot of times we never meet these people, but for some reason, we latch on to different celebrities as if they're homeboys or homegirls or family members. And so when a celebrity passes, I mean, for the large part of the world, a celebrity pass is just going to be like somebody else passing. Like, they're not going to care. The world's not going to stop turning. But, you know, people touch different people. You know what I'm saying? So when K Slade passed, there was people that felt the way, you know, and now Fatman, Scoop, there are people who feel away. You know, but we're going to keep having these scenarios where even when we know, we won't fully know. Even when we know the cause of death, like, people are waiting for the cause of death, like they understand that. I don't even see how it provides closure for most people, because most people don't understand. Like, if you find out it was blood pressure, okay, so what will that mean? What will that mean if people find out, oh, his blood pressure got him? So what will that mean for John Q public, or for the people curious, or for the people that are, you know, broken up, or if they find out it was an infection or this or that? 90% of the people, it's not going to change their habits, it's not going to change what they do. So that's what I would say. Don't get to panicking and thinking crazy. You know, if anything, take from the situation that you need to be on your A game. If anything, take from the situation that you need to be on your A game, right? You need to be relatively active, you know, trying to follow the program as best you can, what's in the gold book, right? The gold book is actually gold, right? So not like 24 karat, the color gold. So you can't see it on the screen. It just looks like a green screen, nothing in my hand, but this is the gold book. There you go. So you can see the pages. You can see the pages. So you know I got something actually in my hand. There you go. That's better. Right? Then on the back you can see a little something. So yeah, try as follow as close as possible, you know, the gold book. And I'm not going to say try to commit to memory, because that would be a little crazy. But if you could really familiarize yourself with pages 83 to 86. 83 to 86. Right? It has charts on microRNA. And, or I should say food and nutrition and their relationship with microRNA. Right? But I mean, outside of just sticking to the blueprint, you know, trying to eat better, exercise, do the self-care things. So, you know, really, I'm live because so many people asked me to do a video on it. You know, but there's really nothing for me to say, nothing for me to add. You know, it's a sad situation, tragic situation, but you know, it's like, unfortunately, the many millions of others. There's millions of other people right now that's going to collapse and they're not going to get up. Right? The thing that you need to think about is how soon is it before you collapse and don't get up? Because there's a lot of people who know the collapse is coming. They feel something going on with them, or they taking something, or they have something going on. So they know they're dealing with something. But there's many people who collapse every day and don't get up that did not have any prior warning. There's no prior warning. Which is the reason why I'm saying, you know, with the Fatman Scoop situation in specific, you got to give it some time. You know what I'm saying? The family may be something much more different than what y'all are thinking and speculating. The family may not want it out there publicly. Think about it. You know, we still never really got an official release from Dr. Africa's family on what went on. You know what I'm saying? We still ain't get and this is local, you know, Brother Panic, and, you know, we still don't know what's going on locally with people. So, yeah, this family may not want that out there in the public. And then, you know, but not until then can you have a real conversation about, and to be honest, you know, some privacy lines have to be drawn. Because for me, you know, obviously we doing the video, right? But for me, I'm just saying, videos like this, if you notice, I don't do a ton of them. I don't do a ton of them because the only real value is if it's going to inspire somebody to turn around and just be more health conscious. You know, because there's a thin line between chasing the news story or chasing the new gossip or trying to be the first person to report on something, you know, for views and likes and whatever the case may be, versus really trying to share something to touch somebody or change, you know, change a life. So as per the crazy last couple of weeks, you know, I just didn't want people to feel like I was ignoring them. So we're here, we're having this conversation, and I rolled the footage of him on stage and the video that people are saying was a video from right before telling what happened. That video is not from right before telling what happened. That video is from like April. I believe that video is from April. I believe that's a very old, not a very old video. It could still be relative. But 6 months ago is, 6 months is long enough to say that that video may or may not, the information in that video may or may not be related to what actually transpired. Right? I know one thing's for sure, two things for certain. 53 is definitely unacceptable. We definitely gotta get to the point where we come to a general consensus on that. Like, nah, we shouldn't be passing out at 53. We shouldn't be dying at 53 doing something we've been doing. Like, period. There doesn't need to be a tremendous scientific breakdown for us to agree on that. And I think that's a good place to start. Arguing, trying to teach physics to a caveman, you learn some things, and it helps to try to keep things broken down into a more simpler. But you learn that, certain things that are important, you just don't need to overcomplicate. People are just going to get it or not. They're just going to get it or not. And that's one of those things. That's one of those things. I don't think we need complicated science to agree. Like, at 50 years old, no matter who you are, what you do, what your economic space is in life, at 50, you should not drop dead doing something that you've been doing. No matter what that thing is. I don't care if it's climbing up the side of mountains. Like, at 50, the stress of you climbing up the mountains that you normally climb up should not kill you. Right? Period. Fatman Scoop doing his on stage, shirt off. Like, that's what Fatman Scoop do. That's how he getting ready to hype the show, hype the party. That's a part of his normal Fatman Scoop thing. I remember being in clubs with him doing that over a decade ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, decades ago. Yeah. So, it's no, if you're a construction worker, you know what I'm saying? Like, it don't matter what it is. The line doesn't get drawn in. There's no separation amongst people. Nobody should die at the age of 50 doing something that they do regularly. Right? That's a very simple, easy thing for everybody to understand across the board. That's a very simple thing for everybody across the board. When that's going on, there's something very, very wrong. There's something very wrong with the body and its normal. Your body is designed based around its daily tasks. Like, literally, your body's designed around its everyday tasks. It's built that way. It maintains muscle tone, bone density, nutrient reserves. Like everything is built around the day-to-day workload, the day-to-day environment. The day-to-day workload, the day-to-day environment, the day-to-day resources. Like your body gets used to X amount of water per day, X amount of vitamins, X amount of antioxidants, and it does the best that it can do with that, with that reserve every day. So anything that you've been doing for 10, 20 years, 30 years, your body is very acclimated to, even if it's even if it's totally abnormal for the average person, even if it's totally out of, because you have people that jump out of airplanes, but even jumping out of an airplane, this is what I'm saying. At 50 years old, you should still be young enough and healthy enough to do whatever it is that you've been doing, even if that is jumping out of airplanes. Even if that's jumping out of airplanes, you should still be able to do that at 50. So, people are, that's people are saying that, and I'm reading that in the text, and it's not making much sense. People are like, oh, is it because he's 50? I heard he was over 50. Ain't he around 50? I'm like, hold on. 50 don't mean you can't do a show, especially when you've been doing that. Like, that's literally what you do. You go place to place to place and get on stage and act a fool like that. No, his body's very conditioned for that. Now, John Q. Public, that may be out of shape, that may be fat, like look like that may have a body like Fatman Scoop. John Q. Public, that may have a body like Fatman Scoop, that's not used to doing anything like that. The shock, the anxiety, the energy that it takes to pull that off, yeah, that will probably be enough to cause something, to mess with somebody. But again, this is somebody, Fatman Scoop does that. That's his routine. So, and he was just getting, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it ain't like he was no super exhausted or, I mean, you would think so. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would think so. Like, literally, the heart has to beat 100,000 times a day. And the heart doesn't get to do anything but stay put. Like, it has to stay put. It has to deal with what we put down there. When and if we ever sit down and examine the nature of life, we've been blessed beyond measure. For us to be going around thinking we need more, I think that's part of the problem. So we can't get people to really understand the blessing that's life, the value of life. So if they don't, they won't prioritize it the right way. They can't, most people can't see the purpose for balance. And that's kind of the problem with things like this, because this will just catch up to you. This will just, and I've had friends where this has happened to. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing worse than a parent dying playing basketball with a kid. But the kid dying playing basketball with the parent. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing worse than the parent dying with a kid, except when the kid dies playing basketball with his parent. You know what I'm saying? You know, or like my best friend D, his heart stopped. His didn't start back up again. You know, like, unfortunately, these are not things that we can deal with in post. You know, these are not things that we can deal with in post. Now, I will say, you know, if something comes out that's if something comes out that's incredibly relevant or revolutionary or something that's a game changer that we need to know, you know, I'll jump on it. But I don't know if there's a story here. You know, I know people would like there to be one by putting that video up with his updates and making it a part of the story, but it may not be a part of the story. Right? It may just be convenient for clicks and views. It may just be convenient that he made that video 6 months ago and now he's passing away. So it seems, you know, it's just like that young kid from Philly, the young kid, the rapper, you know, he just put out like a documentary type of hood, you know, kind of thing. And in it, he was saying his ops will never get him. He's unkillable. He can't die. And the very next day, when that documentary came out, somebody had killed, like between editing the documentary and releasing the documentary, with him saying nobody can kill him, somebody killed him, you know. So what happens for the documentary? The documentary gets more views than it would have got, you know, normally. Right? We saw that with Tupac. He died. The music went crazy. Right? So the labels learned something. Dead artists sometimes are more valuable than alive artists. And a lot of people are going to be able to create content that don't really care about necessarily the person or people in general. Like, if you're using the story to inspire people to be more active in terms of their health, right? Because that's the thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of us, whether it's a conspiracy, whether it's actual fear, distaste, disdain, you know, whatever it is that we may have for the medical system, you know, you have to do something to take care of yourself. So if you're not going to the doctor, if you're not going to the hospital, what are you doing? You know, that's why we have the books on Amazon. You know, that's why we're trying to provide as much education and research as possible so that people understand you can't just do nothing. You can't just do nothing. You know, a lot of us have had bad experiences with the hospitals, but you can't just do nothing. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not going to be hyperactive, you do need to go on in, you know, because being undiagnosed is not the same as being healthy. So you're going to need to go get you a checkup. You're going to need to go get diagnosed. You know, you're going to need to find out what that pain is. You're going to need to find out what that fever is, or why you sweating at night. Or, you know, you have to address things before they address you. Mhm. Exactly. But that's because, you know what? That's a great point right there. People live in a fake world. So because we live vicariously in the world of athletes, we start to adapt the ideas of the world of athletes. So 35 years old, you old. You know, now rap music adapted the ideas of athletes because of the money. Boiling and so all of that kind of bled together because of the ideas of the money, the check sizes, right? But the thing with rap is new, right? So in the same space where rap was focused only on the young, rap itself was young. So like every other music, it's going to have its seasoned tenure, older artists, because people never get tired of hearing their music. So I'm saying that to say there's a lot of different reasons that we have these ideas of, 30 being old or 35 being old or 50 being like, and partially is because, listen, when I was a kid, 50 was old. When I was a kid, people that was 55 years old, like 55 was retirement. People had canes. Their backs was hunched over. This is at 50 in their 50s. Exercise and just knowledge has changed people. You know what I'm saying? Has changed people. So today's 50-year-old doesn't look like yesterday's 50-year-old. To be 55 years old in 1985 meant you was on mad different medications with your back scrunched up, like, you know what I'm saying? Like now, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think The Rock is in his 50s, maybe. Something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's a different space. It's a different space. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think that's the only thing you can pull from a death. There was a woman named, was it Auntie V? There was a woman named Auntie V, and she passed away. And I did a video, and everybody was mad when I did that video. I took the video down because she used to make real cheap food, super unhealthy food. And I used to argue with people all the time about those videos. She would make like fried chicken with ramen noodle. Like I can't even explain the ratchet, the craziness of those meals and combinations of meals. You know what I'm saying? And just the ingredients was like the lowest quality stuff you could imagine. And I was always saying like that food is going to kill her and whoever's eating it. Like, yo, somebody need to stop this. And so she passed away. I did a video, and I didn't think I necessarily crossed any lines. I thought I was rather reserved, but I ultimately respected people's feelings and the timing of the videos. I just pulled my video down. It's not like anybody be paying attention to Dr. EnQi anyway. No, but I think at the time we was rolling, we probably had like 30,000 subs or 50,000 subs or something like that. I think at the time it was on one of my bigger channels. Yeah, I think it was on one of my bigger channels, and I just learned from that scenario. It's only a thin line. It's only a thin line between somebody transitioning and being able to really grab something of a value from that story. You know, I know a lot of people are thinking because it's back to school, and that's another reason why I'm responding, because it's back to school time. And like I said, I know people was panicking. The chaos from the last couple of weeks, people were like, yo, EnQi might not be paying attention. No, I'm on point. Y'all still getting more health. If you count the amount of strictly health content, you still got more day over day, week over week than previous months. So I'm still making sure that we getting X amount of hours of study so that we can stay focused and moving the goalposts forward, you know, moving the chains forward, getting them first downs, turning those into touchdowns, you know, hitting the small goals to hit the larger goals. Because yeah, it's one thing to argue with folks and try to educate people that resist being educated and spread the message, but you know, we still have to make sure that we're doing, you know, keeping the main thing the main thing. Keeping the main thing the main thing. We got to do the work, right? So, but yeah, so just all of those things combined, though, the fact that it's going back to school time, people are worried about different infections for the babies, and you know, people are wondering if I'm paying attention, and you know, all of those different things. So no, definitely I'm on top of everything. You know, I see what's going on with school, but it's not really an opportune time to necessarily jump on it and point out, you know, any mistakes, like, you know, a gotcha moment or anything like that. That's not what that is. And you know, going back to the K Slay situation, you know, the K Slay situation, I mean, similar to this situation, it's frustrating, you know what I'm saying? Especially when I think we should have a little more focus. You know, like that's partially, you know, the reason why I will debate, argue, you know, this is, you know, part of the reason why I'll engage people in a certain way is because, you know, because of these type of things. You don't want people to be able to say they didn't know. See, one thing those conversations with Zip, or primarily with his rants anyway, he's exposing thousands of people. So there's thousands of people that's not going to be able to say, well, they didn't know where they could find out certain types of information. Because you knew. At the end of the day, that's the balance anyway. Because you can only lead a person, you know, lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink. Well, you could kind of push the horse into. That's a fact. In 1985, 50 years old was like damn near the same as being 90. Yeah. But people look, feel, and conduct themselves way different now. So 50 is way too young for that. 50 is way too young for that. At 50, I would say, in my honest opinion, at 50 years old, you should be able to do whatever it is that you've been doing exceptionally. You should be able to do it very well. You shouldn't have any issues doing anything that you have been doing. Now, learning how to do something brand new, yeah, that should probably, yeah, that's a whole different thing at 50. That's a whole different thing at 50. I know, I'm 47, so trust me, it's a different thing. Learning a new thing is different at 50, right? Especially depending on how long it's been since you last been introducing. Like, this is why it's important to just continuously read certain types of books, because you have to continuously be learning and challenging the brain. So if you're not continuously learning and challenging the brain, it's not only your neural networks that get weak, because you have the neural networks for information and memory and all this kind of stuff, but you got to remember, they have to route to the rest of the nerves and neurons that control movement and systems coupling and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot more to doing, like going through a stage routine or going through the motions of your sport even, than just being able to think of it. You know what I'm saying? You've got to think of the actions. Then those have to be, communicated throughout your body, and then your body has to be able to follow through. Then on top of that, your body has to be able to recover in real time from whatever it is that you're doing. Having muscle memory, includes a lot of things that we don't often pay attention to, like how many different systems have to be connected and communicating with each other for you to pull off some of these things that we, depending on what our life is, we just do it on a regular basis. A full-time parent or a daycare teacher wrestles with children in a way that would probably kill the average person. Like, they would just go insane. A Fatman Scoop, a professional, super hype man, like host, MC extraordinaire, kind of like whatever that thing is called that he did on stage. It was high energy. So there was a lot of working parts to his body and mind connection that was required for him to get through that every night, night in, night out. So that's all I'm saying. Like with the video, the video's old. The video's old, so it's not really much we can extrapolate from the video. The video's old. The video's from back in April. Outside that, they haven't released no information. And I don't know why that is. Conspiracy theorists go crazy. right? Go crazy, go nuts. For me, though, it may not be that deep in this scenario. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of celebrities, their family just want to keep it in house. You know, they want to have something that's private, that's just family business. So sometimes how somebody dies, you know, they keep it in the family. Like I said, we still over here in the conscious community. We ain't really got no details on Panic or Africa or Dr. Sebi for that matter. So we going way over there getting in folk business. We don't know what's going on with our people. You know what I'm saying? In Africa and Sebi was healers. And we still don't know exactly how they passed away. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I got some theories. You know, I'll be out here in them streets. I might have heard a thing or two about Africa and Sebi and Panic. But, you know, listen, maybe. Yeah, maybe he was popping some pills, doing some powders. I mean, listen, all manner of possibility is possible, right? But, you know, there's also the idea that maybe he didn't, you know, partake in any sort of risque, you know, behavior. No drugs, no crazy parties, no sex parties, no, you know, freak offs. Like, who knows? Maybe he didn't do any of those things. And that's why I'm saying the possibilities are so limitless. It just would be crazy to just start speculating off of an old video. Because that's what I think most people that was hitting me up with the questions came from, is everybody wants to know. Some people are still in fear, and some people want to know, you know, the video did he make that video like on a Tuesday and then pass away on a Wednesday or third? Like, no, the video is really old. It's a 5 or 6 month old video. It just so happens to be super eerie, scary, you know, it'll give you goosebumps. You know what I'm saying? Like all of those things, chills, the hairs on the back of your neck may stand up, you know, especially when you get to the end of the video and he goes, yeah, well, you know, Black Rob, DMX, you know, and the person like predicted that he was going to die next. And so he responded to the person like, I'm not going to die, you know, and then turn around like we're having this conversation on the eve of his passing. You see what I'm saying? So it's definitely eerie, creepy, spooky, right? All of those types of terms could apply, right? All those types of terms could apply. If you're just tuning in or you tuned in late, so you don't know what video I'm talking about, you got to rewind this video to the beginning and watch the beginning of the video where I show the clips of him on stage, as well as the talk that he gave that's really making this situation crazier than it probably would have been without that video. You know, without that video, and I'll give a brief explanation, right? Because I see the numbers went up, so I know it's people that didn't see it. Let me give a brief explanation. So back in April, Fatman Scoop gets an infection. He don't know what exactly type of infection it is or where he got it from. And I'm not going to say. You can watch the video and see what he says, right? But he has the infection for a little while. He wrestles with it. He beats the infection, or at least he thought he beat the infection anyway. And he talks about, you know, some posts that he put up while he was sick, and people responding to it and making allusions to Black Rob and DMX and all of that kind of stuff. So had he not made that video, yeah, well, I can't even say had people not spliced it together, but yeah, so had he not made that video, because what happened is now people are taking the TMZ video or the Daily News video and putting it together with this other video from back in April. And they're linking it like it's together, like it's one, like he just did that video on Thursday and then passed on Friday. You know what I'm saying? Like they putting those two videos together. So that's creating the controversy. On top of the fact that, you know, he's a celebrity or semi-celebrity, just depending on, you know, where you know the name from, how old you are probably too. But so he was somebody, you know, he was a somebody that passed away. That obviously is going to get some degree of headlines, you know what I'm saying? But what's really making people curious, where they want to ask the questions and, you know, whisper about it, and, you know, people going to be at work discussing it and all of that. What's making it a bigger conversation is that video. And it's the fact that the video is, you know, out of time context. It's out of sync, because people are thinking the video is a super recent video. Now, all that being said, that's not saying that the video or the things he discusses in the video is unconnected. I'm not saying that at all. We could totally find out that there's absolutely connections from the video he made to what actually happened later on. I'm just saying that beyond a shadow of a doubt, 5 or 6 months is enough time for something totally different to have happened. You know what I'm saying? It could still be from whatever he was talking about in the video, but it could be something totally different. You know, he was a big guy. You know, even with me saying 50 is too young to pass from doing something you do every day, you know, we do have to do a bare minimum of self-care to recover. It's like basketball players. Even the basketball players that's going to go enjoy the cigars and the champagne, the steaks and the women, they still going to at least hit the ice, you know, they're going to ice their legs down or something. Like they're going to do a little recovery at least. You know, so it could have been a lot on his heart. You know, it could be a lot of different things. So, you know, speculating isn't going to really do us any good. Yeah, speculating ain't going to really do us no good. But I stand by that, though. 50 years old is too young. 50 is too young. I don't need no information. I don't need no data points. I don't need an article, a scientific journal clipping. I don't need anything to make that statement emphatically. 50 years old is too young. 50 is too young. People should not be just dropping dead at 50 from doing. Listen, in Michigan, I don't know if they run these everywhere, but I know in Michigan they run these commercials that tells people to like if you over 50 years old, they put out the warnings for you to be watering your grass. Watering grass, shoveling snow, cutting grass, like shit like that, like housework. They put out warnings. If you're 50 years old or older, they will warn you that it's potentially dangerous for you to be doing housework. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is what I totally disagree with. Totally disagree. Now, I will say, if a person is not used to doing any housework or manual labor, and then they get up to go do some, it could be a doozy. It could be a doozy, So that's where I'm at with it. Try to keep it as respectful as possible. That's why I'm not replaying the content over and over. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can go back to the beginning of the video and watch the different videos. There's 2 different video clips we're reacting to, right? As well as the whole situation. But you can go back to the beginning and see those clips, hear him talk, and then also see the clip of his performance at Connecticut to make up your own mind on what you think is going on. But, I would just ask you a simple question. When is the last time you had your 21-day detox from the website? Like, do you already have antiviral kits in your house ready to go? It's September. You already know what time it is. It's roll call. Maybe we need to do a roll call back to school video. Like, but you should know, do you have these things on hand? Or if something happens in your house, you're going to try to order it and then wait for the order to come to be on time with it. I'm just saying. Like the last 20 years, maybe 30 years, something has happened every September and October. Going all the way back to avian flu. Remember that? Bird flu, swine flu, all of them different flus. Like, so, it's school time. It's just on and popping. So what are you doing? What do you have? What have you initiated? What protocol do you have in play? What new vitamin combination, like what new herb combination? What do you have in store to start off your cold season? You're transitioning. Yeah, maybe I need to do a whole video on that. People transitioning to the cold season. Yeah, I thought that was crazy too. Yeah. I was like, man, they're trying to make sure they open up some secondary, like, because people will come to mow your lawn. You know what I'm saying? People will come to shovel your snow to get you out of the, get you out of the ice or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, they opening up that secondary, tertiary, hustling space. But that's the real question. What do you have? What do you have ready? What are you taking? What are you doing? Are you running, walking, jumping rope? What are you doing? Like, what do you have ready for your children to combat the school system and then bring it back home to you? They're going to school to get exposed, and then they're going to come home and bring that back to you, right? What do you have for that? How are you preparing for that? Facts. That's all wise, right, and exact. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. It's time to prepare. It's time to get ready. August is the time. August is the time. That's when you get you together. Put them orders in right now. So top of September, middle of September, everything is starting to act, everything is starting to go crazy. You're already ready. You're already ready to combat, to make the adjustments for your body. Because here's the reason why it's the sickness season. The reason it's the sickness season is because every year this is the time when nature, God, the planet, however you want to look at it, but your protection goes away. Your protection goes away. The sun does so many different beneficial things for everyone, white to black, right? That if you live in places where you have seasons, whenever you go from your peak solar season, which for us in the States is the summertime, right? Some people have 3 seasons, some people have 2 seasons. The planet is some people's nighttime goes longer than 12 hours. Like it's, so when you come from that peak solar season though, all of the protections that your body has gotten used to during that period. So for us in the north part of America, starting at March and April is when people have allergies and things like that, because that's the season where you're going from the roughest environmentally, where most of the weight, your body has to carry. Your body is working hard. It's hardest at that point to stay healthy. Starts to transition to getting more environmental support. You're starting to get more sun. You're starting to get more melatonin, more vitamin D, more of the things that, cathelicidins, and just more of the things that your body can produce to keep it vibrant. By the time you go, March, April, May, June, your body is in a nice little comfortable rhythm now. It's like in wealth, money is flowing, so to speak, so everything's feeling good. It's not till August you start getting broke again, thinking in terms of wealth from the environment, the heat, the hormones, the vitamin levels, all of the things associated with the peak solar energy. When that starts to go down, that protection starts to go down. And there's a little gap. There's a little gap between, and that gap is different for everybody. It exists for everybody, but it's different for everybody. But there's a gap between when that environmental protection drop and when your force field comes back up at maximum strength. You know what I'm saying? So some of us, it takes a little longer to get that force field back to maximum strength because we're not doing, as best as we could. So, that's the window where you particularly have to be prepared, right? It's not getting ready for the winter, December, January. That's not how it goes. You got to get ready for the winter in terms of your immune system, that you got to do August. That you got to do in August. You got to do that now. So that September, October, you're already eating. You're already on a cycle for, you know, those type of, that weather, you know, and everything that comes with that weather, the school season. So not only for most of us, is it a matter of the environment changing? You're going from the solar season back to the cold season. It's also a matter of more integration with people. Now you in contact with more people. You got to touch more people, or maybe you don't per se. Maybe your job or your lifestyle stays the same, but maybe your kids are about to go out and start mingling with 800 other kids. You know what I'm saying? And maybe these other kids is nasty. Like a lot of times, yo, I'm just saying, a lot of these other kids, a lot of parents have a lot of different types of ideas about health. You know what I'm saying? So you got a lot of Robitussin parents out there, a lot of Robitussin parents, you know, and a Robitussin parent is basically, you know, their kid is eating pizza, fried chicken, soda, ham and cheese every day. And, you know, if the kid comes down with, you know, Tourette's, cancer, leukemia, and everything all at once, that parent is just going to get their child some Robitussin and tell them to take a nap. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a lot of Robitussin parents like that. They supply the children with tons of unlimited amounts of poison and sickness producing agents. But when the child is sick, you know, little to no care. You know what I'm saying? Like they give under, you know, so if you think you're a parent that's over worrying, don't worry about being over worried. It's always better to be over worried than under worried. At some point, you want to get some balance for your anxiety, but it's way better to over worry than under worry when it comes to your children. Because they're going to come back to the house with all kind of stuff. They're going to come back to the house with all kind of, you know. So the one thing that we can take away from that video that Fatman Scoop did, though, is he was 1,000% correct when he said it's not about, you know, being exposed to certain things. It's just about, is your body going to be ready to tackle those things you get exposed to? Period. It's not about being exposed. It's about how can you handle the things that you get, you know, that's it. Are you going to be equipped to deal with the changes? My name is Minister EnQi. I am the naturopathic doctor and the spokesman for the Melanin Verse Diabetes Ministry. Every time you go to the supermarket without the electrician grocery shopping list, it's like putting a loaded gun to your head. Stop playing Russian roulette with your life. Help us make America great again. Learn how to save time. Learn how to save money with the electrician grocery shopping list on Amazon now. Go to Amazon now. The life you save may be your own.
And everybody's been asking me how my health has been. And, you know, for me, I don't want to keep answering people here and there and all that kind of stuff. I'd rather just make one across the board statement. And that's it. The Rose Jolie, thank you very much. I am Step Riley. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Let's start here. Here's some observations about let me just start by telling you my story. Probably about April 5th, I got sick. You don't know when it comes. You can have a negative test. You can have false positives. It's a bunch of different things that I learned. You could take a test and it should have say negative, and you can come back 3 days later and the shit is positive. Thank you, Francine's Dream Cream. Faces Makeup. Thank you very much. Faces by Peerless. You know I love you. So all of that makes no difference. I got sick on like the 5th of April. So I'm sitting here at this chair, like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I start coughing. And I'm like, the fuck am I coughing for? And I'm just like, and it's going on and on. So I'm like, wait up, hold on, man. I know I ain't got no. I just came from North Carolina where I was in an event